right, welcome back to another After Dark, everyone. Hope you all having a good night so far. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. So, I had another super thanks to get to here, and this one was suggesting this video from one of my favorite channels, Eric Smith's Sports Training channel. Big fan of his, and this one is titled "A Different Perspective on the Trey Young Trade." I'm down for it. I gotta tell you the truth. I have never truly been a Trey Young believer. I am currently not a Trey Young believer. I kind of saw him as a Steph Curry type player, but he got the idea wrong, because Steph Curry plays off ball all the time, and Trey likes to hold that ball and dribble and maintain possession of that ball for the majority of the games from what I've seen from him. So different types of player, but I think he wanted that green, he wants that green light just like Steph has, and I just don't know. I just don't know about Trey Young. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but we'll see. I guess we'll see, because he's going to go into the next chapter of his career. So anyways, let's see. I am curious what Eric Smith has to say about this, though. So let's get into this, guys. I'm linking the original video down below in the description for you all. If you want to check out Eric Smith's channel, highly recommend it. Mr. Eric Smith, if you're watching this, shout out to you, my friend. And what else? Yeah, also you see a list of channel members. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you. And I say let's go. Like the vid if you could. All that good stuff. Let's get to it.
What's up, guys?
What up?
This is a small break from my usual type of content, but with the Trey Young trade finally happening, this is a massive positive shift that's happening in the NBA, and the new CBA has good and bad. This is a perfect example of the good, and I really wanted to highlight it. As 90% of you that are NBA fans of teams other than the Lakers, Celtics, Warriors, and a few other teams with good owners, many of your teams are from smaller market cities where it's not known as a free agency destination. One of the main points of the new CBA was to increase parity. The problem in the past has been the ability for several teams to draft poorly, develop poorly, make bad free agent signings, and still outperform teams like OKC, who do all those things well simply for the fact that when their good players like James Harden were up for extensions, OKC couldn't afford it, but a bigger market team like Houston could. Or like when Kawhi was a free agent in Toronto, they couldn't offer $30 million no-show endorsement backdoor sweeteners like the Clippers could.
Wow.
What the new CBA has done is force these greedy agents like Rich Paul to be put in a binary dilemma. Stay with the team and try to build something with the small market that drafted you and potentially get much larger supermax contracts, or advise their players to chase championships with a big market team like they have been doing, but have to take a massive pay cut, which reduces the pay coming also to the agent when the contract is signed. In my video where I previewed the NBA season, I begged the Hawks to trade Trey Young. What essentially happened to the Hawks—
Are you guys reading the text?
—into almost every mid to small market team was they developed a very good player, the player has deficiencies that hold the team back from winning a title, the player has early team success, they think they'll go back every year, it goes to their head, and improvement stops. The team, however, knows the fan base will crucify them for not re-signing the player, but the player will only stay if the team gives them the max contract. Then the team is stuck in a 6 to 10 seed purgatory until the next contract runs out. Trey Young's camp was furious.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it. Yeah. These supermaxes are it's just too much. That's too much of the team's cap being dedicated to one player when we got 15 or 14 other players to pay. It's just too much.
With the Hawks for not offering an extension before this season, but the Hawks already frustrated themselves by paying $40 million this year and potentially $49 million the next on a player option, did the right thing and stood firm. However, Trey Young and his agents finally lost all leverage this season with his injuries, below standard play, and the quote-unquote supporting cast, which I've made the case was actually supporting him, having a 15-12 record without Trey this year.
That is crazy. I didn't know that. By the way, you guys, I saw that this video is out for a month and only has 590 views. Please go down there, hit that link, just give it a view, give it a like, all that good stuff.
As opposed to tuning with him. Now, if you're a massive Trey Young fan that clicked on this video in shock of how such an elite player got traded for no first or second round draft picks when Desmond Bane and Rudy Gobert went for 4, I'm sorry to tell you, the version of Trey Young we've seen the last 2 years is worth exactly what the Wizards gave up for him. Yes, in my opinion, Desmond Bane and Rudy Gobert are both better players than Trey Young is right now. Now, can you make the playoffs with prime Trey Young if you surround him with an elite roller and great shooters and defense? Yes, you can even make the conference finals if you convince the team you're playing to give someone like Ben Simmons also an albatross contract. But here's the reason I made this video and the reasons both sides should like this trade. Same as Mavs fans should now be okay with the Luka trade. Guys, you can have the most elite statistical player in league history, but in the new CBA, if they're not a dedicated leader, hard worker, and all-around player, you will not win a championship. And
I have to agree, because things like that, and okay, teams making decisions like this, like, hey, let's get rid of Luka, hey, let's get rid of Trae instead of giving them the Supermax. I'm hearing them loud and clear. They're basically saying, they're not saying, hey, this guy's not good. They are saying, yeah, we would love to have this guy on our team, but we can't put almost 50% of our cap into that one person. What if he goes down? What if he misses a season? We're screwed. You know, hands are tied. So I see this less as trades for the talent in return and more so trading away the expensive asset so you free up money for the future. And I think the CBA, I think it's going to have to be switched around a little bit, because every organization is avoiding that Supermax contract like it's the plague, because it is actually the plague.
if you're not trying to win championships, what are we really doing? When a team drafts a lottery player, they're not just evaluating talent, they're evaluating the singular drive to improve weaknesses every year until they start to win. Trey Young, Luka, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, all these guys have the same thing in common. Whether it's defense, shooting, or injury prevention, they've had a 5 to 7 year run of first contracts and then extensions to show they acknowledge their weaknesses that prevented winning and they fixed them. But they simply haven't. And for that, outside of Joel Embiid, the GMs have all given up on these players and moved them and done the right thing. Even if any of those players get motivated and fix it in the future, the change of scenery is needed, and waiting around for the status quo to change with no evidence of that to this point is the definition of insanity. Now, does that mean Trey Young is a scrub or wasn't a great player for Atlanta? No, he absolutely was a great player for them for many years. But there's only room for so many max players on a roster, and he wasn't validating 40 to 50 mil. Just like Luka got motivated in the offseason to go get in shape after hearing the criticism on his way out the door in Dallas, Trey Young could wake up, hit the weight room like Steph Curry did, and go become a serviceable defender. I'm a big fan of Alex Sarr's improvement so far this year with the Wizards, and if Trae works hard and gets an extension there, the Wizards could become a playoff team in 2 years. But please guys, as fans, stop buying into statistical narratives about players and root.
I mean, they got Anthony Davis now too, right? That's good. An interesting team. I always see Washington as like purgatory for players, but they are building an interesting team right now, aren't they?
For players that are actually leading, changing culture, improving weaknesses every year like Halliburton and Cade Cunningham have done. Trey Young was great, but defense is half the game, and scoring 30 and giving up 28 as a max player just isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And if you're a pissed Hawks fan who wanted a return on a first-round draft pick, remember, the Hawks only had 2 teams to choose from who could even afford to take on 40 mil.
Wow.
And that was the Wizards and the Nets. Even the Wizards had to dump 2 salaries to afford him.
The Wizards have notoriously for years and years and years taken on bad contracts too.
They had zero leverage, and in fact, early reports were the Wizards were asking for a second-round pick to even absorb the contract. Also, don't forget your GM pulled a genius trade, betting that the Pelicans would have another terrible year, fleecing them for their first-round draft pick next year. Now with CJ...
I think they're starting to pick it up though, aren't they? I mean, this video is a month old. I think the Pelicans have turned it around.
McCollum's contract coming off the books for the Hawks next year, they will be set to find their next superstar with the top 5 Pelicans pick to pair with their elite young core and Jalen Johnson. The Wizards will now get 1 year to see how Trey Young's elite passing helps their young core develop. And then if he still doesn't get in the weight room and work on his defense, they can try to trade him or let him walk after 2027 if he opts in. Really, this is a win-win for both teams. Guys, I swear I had this video mostly filmed while doing my research, and I come across this Reggie Miller interview with the legend Dan Patrick They came out with this clip pretty much perfectly summarizing Trey Young.
Okay.
Trey Young used to be a big deal with the Hawks. That was a good story. It was a few years ago. He's celebrating against the Knicks in the Garden. He's playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. His numbers look really good. He's in his prime, and he's on the trading block. What happened with this
Here's
story?
the problem. And sometimes it's getting success too early. You mentioned it. I think his decline really started after the Hawks went to the conference finals and lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, the eventual champion.
Uh-huh.
And I think things came too easy for him. And again, I'm not in their practices. I don't follow them day to day, but I hear things. And when you hear things that players don't like playing with him, he doesn't practice hard. He doesn't come early and work out. He certainly doesn't stay late.
In other words, he's a terrible leader. So yeah, you can't give a bad leader all that money. That belongs to a good leader. Okay.
And work on his game. When I hear comments like that, I hope they're not true, because I think he is an unbelievable talent and he can help a team out. The problem is he's small. He's not going to grow. He's not very big. He's slight. So he gets taken advantage of at the defensive end. And if you're not going to work on your game, if you're not going to bulk up, look at Stephen Curry.
Yep.
I mean, they were almost the same size at one point. And you look at Curry now, how much he has bulked up, continues to work on his shot like it's going out of business. I don't know if Trey works like that.
I don't think he does. And yeah, Reggie's right. Steph was like a toothpick when he came into the league.
I don't know if he's committed to working like that. So if you're the Hawks, you have a decision to make. What can you get in return for him? And the longer they wait, those kind of returns start to go down. It's like the stock market. So, but I know we've seen him on display in New York. We know he's a ice Trey. We know what he can deliver. Is what can you get for him? And going forward, how is Trey going to act wherever he goes?
Now, guys,
and it's true. I mean, I agree. Reggie's saying the same thing. Eric is saying the same thing here. The biggest problem with him is that, one, obviously the leadership, but really, if you're talking about on the court stuff, the guy doesn't play any defense, and he's not improving, not even like 1% per year defensively. You're not going to win a championship with him then. So if he's not a good leader to the team, plus, obviously he's not leading by example because he's not playing any defense. It doesn't matter if he averages 40 points a game. They're still not going to win, Jordan wasn't winning championships by just playing offense, by winning scoring championships. He had to lead the charge defensively too. It is what it is. Larry Bird, as we saw earlier today, he's doing a lot more than just scoring as a leader. So Trey, I just don't think he's that guy. I think he just wanted to come in, have fun, shoot the ball, score a lot of points, and make a lot of money.
As OG players like Reggie Miller, I honestly can't think of a single time I've ever heard him criticize an NBA player like this. They just don't do it. They try to mentor behind the scenes if they hear stuff like this, or they just keep it in-house in the NBA fraternity. For him to come out publicly and acknowledge this is what he's been hearing for years, and it perfectly matches what those of us who are really watching the game see. That's pretty crazy for him to do this, and it says to me it's gotten to the point where he's heard it so often he just doesn't care anymore. Now I just want to cover one last thing quickly. I noticed a lot of comments on the video are saying Trey Young was a scapegoat for an incompetent Atlanta Hawks front office. Or, put some respect on Trey Young's name, the man's an all-star and took a team to the Eastern Conference Finals. Guys, absolutely those things are true, but you're missing Reggie's point. Trey Young had a great team around him, and when he was hot from three, he had several dominant games in that playoff run. But he hasn't really improved at all since then, and in some ways has regressed. Everyone acknowledges that he is objectively a great player, and he kept a mediocre team and front office afloat for several years. But the front office has tried to get free agents to come there, but nobody wanted to play with him because of his reputation. In the last 2 years, he's had a good enough supporting cast to be a top 6 seed in a weak Eastern Conference, and they've had a better record without him this year.
That's the real sticking point right there. Yeah. imagine paying somebody like $40 million or whatever, and they're actively making your team worse. You know, and I'm not trying to be an asshole here to Trey Young, but I can't unsee what I saw there. You know, that's like one of those LeBron James things. You know what I mean? Like, if you're actually making the team worse when you're out there, how can we like stomach paying you all this money? That's an irresponsible decision.
If he was making 20-25 mil to be an 18-7 guy on a mid team, this would all be fine.
Yeah, I was even thinking 30 million. You know, nowadays 30 million, 25, 30 million for a guy like Trey. I think he could help a team, possibly. Maybe the damn defense, though, man. The damn defense is the killer.
But to be making the max and have no quantifiable improvement on your body, defense, or efficiency.
But if you had him, okay, sorry to cut off, Eric. If you had him playing off the ball like Steph, he could, you know, not a leader, be on a team with a solid leader and just have him play off the ball, running through screens, popping threes. He could be effective. It's just if he could like to just give it like you know, maybe a 25% effort on defense, it might be worth the while.
4 years? Come on, we can put respect on his name while still criticizing that. And if you think we're crazy, then why did he just get traded for an expiring contract, a role player, and no draft picks?
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. And before bashing me in the comments for being a Trey Young hater, remember, defense is half the game. Y'all are all legends. Good luck to the new look Hawks, and have a great week, y'all. If you can support by signing up as a member, liking, commenting, or hyping the video, that'd be a great help. Thank you guys. Peace.
All right. To tell you the truth, I am not a Trey Young hater because I actually remember now, early on in his career, I was actually kind of defending him. Way before I had a YouTube channel, but I would, you know, talk about it with my friends and stuff like that. And I used to, you know, a lot of people they figured Trey out way, you know, years before I did. And basically everyone was telling me what I see the truth is now, which is like, nah, man, he's just a ball hog. He chucks the ball all the time. You know, doesn't play any defense. The guy doesn't care. He just wants to score points. And I'm like, nah, he's all right. He's all right. You know, back then I was still saying, kind of reminds me of Steph. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, Eric Smith is right. He has not improved at all. The problem is the weaknesses he had, they're still his weaknesses. So he hasn't worked on developing those. And then the pros, the you know, the things that are not his weaknesses, the things that he excels at, he's actually not as good as he was. So the guy is in decline right now. And the thing is I feel like he's still young enough where he could turn this around. And maybe this trade is the thing that's going to indicate to him that, like, oh, damn, you know, I didn't think they were going to do this to me. So, like, maybe I'm a problem. Maybe I got to switch the way I'm playing. I don't know. I got no beef with Trey Young. I never disliked him or hated him or anything like that. But I just see him as a mid-level player. Exciting enough to make an all-star game once in a while for sure, because of his scoring abilities are, you know, they're off the charts. But if we're talking about like building a championship team, I don't know if I'd want him anywhere near it. Maybe off the bench, you know, as like a Steve Kerr type of player to be injected, you know, some three-point shooting off the bench. But if I'm really trying to win a championship, I can't have somebody who doesn't play a lick of defense on my starting lineup. And then we look at the numbers where he's getting paid what he's getting paid, and I can't justify it at all. I totally understand why the Hawks did what they did. I do. It's time to move forward. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this whole thing. What are your opinions about Trey Young? And do you think the Hawks made the right choice? Also, shout out to Eric Smith, guys. If you didn't click on that link earlier, please go give him a couple of views. He definitely deserves it for all the research and stuff that he does. But anyways, I'll leave you with that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. And most importantly, is to be water, my friends.